So today we're going to be talking about one and two-step equations. These are the most basic type of equations that we will be solving. Basically what we need to do is we need to solve for the indicated variable or the letter using the reverse of the opposite operations. So for example here I have a positive 13 next to an x. I'm trying to get x by itself. The opposite of this positive 13 is a negative 13. And I need to make sure I'm doing that on both sides of the equal sign. So here, 13 minus 13 is 0, which we don't need to really write, so we just cancel it out. And then 27 minus 13 is 14. So then our answer is x equals 14. Over here, we're trying to, again, solve for x, and we have a minus 3 next to it. The opposite of minus 3 is a plus 3. Again, so negative 3 and plus 3 makes 0, so we're going to cancel that. So on this side we have x, and on this side we have negative 4. And we're going to rewrite that as x equals negative 4. Here we have 4 next to an x. When there's no operation in between, we can assume that that is multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by the number in front, which is 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, which we don't need to write because it doesn't change anything. So we're going to leave that as x. And then 20 divided by 4 is 5. So our answer is x equals 5. Over here, x is being divided by 4, and the opposite of division is to multiply. So we're going to multiply by what x is being divided by. So 4 times x over 4, those 4's are going to cancel. I'm going to have x, and then 9 times 4 is 36, so my answer is x equals 36. Let's look at a two-step problem. So here, we're going to deal with this division first. So again, the opposite of division is multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by 5. So those 5's cancel, and I'm left with 4m over here. And over here, I have 140. Now my last step is to get rid of this 4. Remember, when they're next to each other, that means multiply, the opposite of which is to divide. So I'm dividing both sides by 4. Those 4's are going to cancel. Over here, I'm left with m. Over here, 140 divided by 4 is 35. So our answer is m equals 35. Here, again, so first over here, we multiplied by 5. So here we're going to multiply by 4 on both sides of this line or of the equal sign. So 4 times 12 is 48. Here the 4's are going to cancel, so I'm left with 3x. When 3 is next to the x, that means multiply, so to undo we're going to divide by 3 on both sides. 48 divided by 3 is 16, and then those 3's are going to cancel. So that leaves us with x equals 16. Here we got a couple things going on. So this r is being divided by negative 3 and added to 1. So we always want to either add or subtract first if we can, because if we multiply both sides by negative 3, it's going to get a little bit messy. So let's subtract 1 on both sides. So I have r over negative 3. 1 minus 1 is 0, so not going to write that. And then 8 minus 1 is 7. Now we can go ahead and multiply by this negative 3 on both sides. The negative 3's are going to cancel. So over here we have r, and over here 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. So our answer is r equals negative 21. Over here, r minus 2, the whole thing is being divided by 4. So we need to get rid of that fraction, or that divided by, before we can deal with this r and this negative 2. So we're going to multiply both sides by 4. 4 times 6 gives me 24. These 4's are going to cancel, and I'm left with r minus 2. Now I can get rid of this negative 2 by adding it to both sides. So 24 plus 2 is 26. We have r. Remember, negative 2 plus 2 would cancel and make 0. So our answer is r equals 26. So what we just did correlates to these properties. So these are the 8 major properties that we are going to be talking about. The commutative property for both addition and multiplication, which basically means we're just moving things around. A, B, C, A, C, B. So we see that the C's are in different places. Then for multiplication, A, B, C, A, C, B, we saw that the B and the C switched places. Next we have associative. So that's addition and multiplication, and basically that means that only the parentheses are moving. With the identity, that means that nothing is changing or it's staying the same. So like here for addition it's plus 0 and it didn't change, it just stayed A. For multiplication, times 1 just stays A. Inverse, I think of that as the opposite. So we would have the same number but opposite signs, one positive, one negative for addition, and then for multiplication we have the same number but one is being divided and the other one is just regular. Over here we have properties of equality, which means doing the same thing to both sides. Reflexive just means the same thing on both sides, so A equals A, B equals B, same number. Symmetric just means we're going to flop it. It's like a mirror. And then transitive, you're looking for an if and then statement. And that's saying that this is equal to this and this is equal to this, which means that these two must also be equal to each other. So we're going to use those in an example problem on the back side. So this is the original problem. The other way we can state this is given. Okay, so then it looks like the work was already done for us. It looks like they subtracted 8 on both sides. So that is the subtraction property of equality. Subtraction because we are subtracting or minusing, and then equality because it's the same thing on both sides. So then it looks like they moved the 8 in front of this 3v, and when we move something that's the commutative or the commutative property, and that's of addition. All right, so they brought 74 and negative 8 together, made 66, but they also said 8 and negative 8 make 0. So we have the same number but opposites. That means it's the inverse property of addition. Then it looks like they got rid of the 0. They just got rid of it because this was going to stay the same. That's our identity property of addition. Then it looks like they divided both sides by 3, so we know they divided, and we know they did it on both sides. So it's the division property of equality. So then our solution is 22 equals V, and that's our solution.